Welcome to the first of our festive editions of the Foodbod Pod. We are back in Cherie's kitchen and we're preparing for Christmas. What we're making now then, Cherie?
These are going to be my whiskied caramelised oranges. So we're going to make a caramel and we're going to spice it as well with some lovely Christmas spices, and then I'm going to add the whiskey into the caramel to give it a lovely rich flavour.
Oh wow, okay. So where are you going to begin?
So we've got some granulated sugar in a pan. Always good to use granulated sugar in a caramel because it melts down quicker. And then we're going to add 150 mils of water into this granulated sugar, and then that's going to go over onto the aga to start to dissolve. So when you make a caramel, it's always best that you swirl the pan rather than put a spoon in, because sometimes if you put a spoon in, the heat can all go around the spoon and you can get big globules of undissolved sugar, and it's very difficult to get rid of those in your caramel. So just let it gently melt away and just swirl your pan every so often.
As a complete novice, I've never made a caramel before in my life. I've obviously seen these things go on the bake-off and people have all sorts of issues with them. You said it's better to use granulated sugar, which to me is more granular than caster sugar. So my temptation would think that caster sugar would dissolve faster than granulated, but it doesn't work that way?
It just seems to be that whenever the bigger crystals, they break down faster, and they also are more, they go clearer as well, almost as well. So it's already starting to break down now, so it's already starting to go. So make sure.
It's cloudy.
Yeah, and then this will start to come clear once the caramel starts to go. So it will probably take a wee while for that to happen. So I'm going to leave that there for a minute. And then what I'm going to do is start to segment the oranges. Now, what I tend to do is take the top and the bottom off, because then you've got something steady to use.
Sorry, could you just take that bit again from when you came back to the oranges, please?
Right, okay.
Okay, we're still recording.
So what I tend to do with the oranges is take the top off and the bottom, because then you've got something stable to work with.
Yeah, it's got a flat surface that you can lean on.
Exactly right. And then I use a serrated knife. So where you've got the inside of the pith of the orange, start from there and move down around the shape of the orange, because that way you're not taking loads of the fruit away. So you're just taking that pith. Then put your knife
you're doing
again,
it right flat against it, aren't you?
yeah, along the line of the pith, and just take it, keep going round.
You've done this many times. So just smoothly taking off the round and the pith.
And leaving the shape of the orange.
And taking hardly any of the flesh.
Now when you first of all start, you might end up with something that looks like a hexagon, but you know what, it still tastes the same.
Well, and I recall that I might have done that kind of thing myself in the past.
So that's absolutely grand. And then you just want to just take those wee bits of pith away, anything that's there. Now, if you wanted to at this point, you could, if you had clementines for instance, you could just keep the clementines whole and put them in a bigger jar. Or you could slice the oranges if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do is segment them. So we've got a bowl here.
So you're going to cut them into the segments rather than break it into the natural segments?
So I'm just going to go down each side of the membrane. So all you've got is then the lovely fruit, the flesh, and just peel it off. So you go down the side of the membrane and just use your knife like a bit of a lever and just push it away like that. And continue with that the whole way around. And then what you want to do at the end is just check to make sure there aren't any wee bits of membrane. And do you know what, if there are, it doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that when there aren't, it's just so much nicer to eat because they're not chewy. And then squeeze all that juice. And I've got my oranges in a sieve here, okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the oranges into a jar that I've got here. So
we've got a small kilner jar.
Yeah, with a jam funnel over the top. So I'm just going to put all of those wee bits of oranges in there. And then I'm going to keep this juice because I'm going to put this juice into the caramel, okay?
Okay.
So we've got our caramel nicely bubbling down, but it needs to go really quite dark. So with the caramel, sometimes they're really too sweet. So to get rid of that sweetness, you need to take it to the point where it's almost smoking. So you get like a really cinder toffee sort of flavour.
That must take some real confidence to do that, because you're not scared. When you first do it, there must be a fear of taking it too far.
Yes, there probably would be, and that's why it's good to swirl, because then that makes the colour all even. So you will go from clear to like slightly yellowy golden to a bit darker amber, and then it would go even slightly darker, so almost to the colour of like a cider vinegar type thing, quite dark.
Wow.
And then we'll take it off the heat and we'll go through to the next bit. It's not quite ready yet.
Okay, so whilst you're just doing that, Tracey, what is it that you're starting to do now?
I'm starting to do the spiced pear and cider chutney.
So what is it?
Could you just ask that question again, please?
Okay. So whilst we're waiting for that to turn then, just quickly, Tracey, what are you starting to do now?
I'm going to do a spiced pear and cider chutney, which is a very popular flavour at Christmas time. So it uses our local Bramley apple from County Armagh, and pears, conference pears are the best for it, because otherwise they go kind of watery and mushy, and they're a nice sweet pear.
So tell me about the huge apples then, these Bramley apples.
These are our local County Armagh Bramley apples, and they're PGI status from County Armagh. They have a certified protected geographical status, because you can only find this particular apple in the county of Armagh in Northern Ireland. Outside of that, you will get an apple like this that you can cook with, but they're called cookers. The Bramley is actually County Armagh.
And they're huge.
They're
and
huge.
I didn't
Yeah.
realise
These
that
are
they were
actually
like
small
a
ones.
protected species.
Yeah.
And they smell divine.
And they smell
Smell
so
of home.
good. They smell so good.
Mm.
Yeah, and I use the Bramley apple in a lot of my chutneys, because they're local to me, because they're available year round, and because I'm supporting our local growers, our local farmers, and because they're such a fabulous product to work with. They're absolutely incredible.
And obviously, I mean, I love your chutneys, as I will probably bore people with keep saying. And one of my favourite being the Armagh apple one. So I didn't realise that it was something that was so special. And, you know. So
it is.
how are we doing?
We're good. We're good.
Okay. So what's the beginning point of your chutney then?
The beginning point is always the onion,
Yeah.
is to try and soften the onion, because it's not nice to eat a chutney with like a crunchy onion.
Yeah.
I like to have my chutneys with whole pieces that people can actually define, okay, there's a pear and there's an apple, and there's, but it's not nice to have like a raw onion. So what I do is I soften the onion in our local apple cider vinegar, and it's actually a Long Meadow cider with Mother, they make it, and the products that I get I usually source within about 15 to 20 mile radius of me, and I work within season with whatever's available by our local growers or what I can grow myself. There's some of the stuff I grow myself as well, beetroot, rhubarb, strawberries, tomatoes, things like that. But so I start with the onions.
You're using white onions, is that a particular choice?
I like the white onion. I find that the red onion is much sweeter,
Yeah.
and it can distort the taste of the chutney. So I use the white or brown onion, and I find that these, as well as the apple, they complement each other, and the spices, they absorb the spices.
Okay.
I like to try and use fruits and vegetables that work together and don't try to overpower each other. So I find that the white onion is a good one.
That makes sense. How are we doing? You seem to be bubbling.
So I'm bubbling, and what tends to happen as well is when you make the caramel, you can actually hear it. Do you know what I mean? So the bubbles start to get bigger, and they start to break slower and slower. So I think we've got another wee bit to go yet. Always when you're working with caramel or something really hot in a pan, cover your hand and then hold on to the handle.
In case it spits.
In case it spits out, absolutely. So I'm just swirling and swirling.
Look,
Oh, okay, so you've suffered for that
I
one.
have my jam marks,
Scars.
my wounds, my war wounds. From Saturday night I was making chutney before I packed to come over here, and I was swirling the chutney and it just
Oh, wow.
out over my arm. So yes.
And it's sore and you never forget.
You never
That
forget.
pain.
You
Like
never
me.
forget.
It's wild. That's why I tell you, I have my whole arm. I'm like going in like this here with my whole arm covered with a spoon, and it is so sore.
I actually had my arm covered to there, and I had my arm covered to there, and it spat down my glove. It straight up and down my glove, so I couldn't even get my glove off.
Oh,
Not nice.
see, just like I've never made caramel, I've never made chutney. So these things are like an art form to me. And I know you make them so much, and such huge batches, and
I actually make small batches.
to me it seems big batches.
Yeah, well, I don't usually make. I have huge pots, but the reason for my huge pots, which were actually handed down to me by my aunt, but I only ever make about 25 to 30 jars in one pot. So I could have maybe 4 pots going on at one time to try. But I find that if you make any larger in a pot, then you're getting mush, because by the time I slow cook it, a chutney is very important. It's very different to jam, because jam is you bring it to 105 degrees, you need it on a rolling boil, you need to get it there quickly, and you need to, you know this yourself, Cherie, and you need to try and keep it at that. And but a chutney, you bring it, you slow cook it.
So I take it if you left it in that big huge pot for too long, it's going to go mushy at the bottom.
It will go mushy at the bottom, and if you stir it too often, if you have it on a high heat and you're stirring it too often, then you're mushing everything in together. So and you're not getting a nice
separation.
Yeah, and you're not actually getting a nice chutney that you can actually distinguish the flavour, because everything has kind of mutated together, fused together. This is why I love using this cider vinegar by Long Meadow Cider. It's because I find that their apple cider vinegar actually complements the flavour. I've met so many people to say that they don't like chutney, and my first question is why do you not like chutney? Is it the vinegar taste? And they say yes, and then I'd say, well, I challenge you to try this chutney and tell me, can you taste vinegar at all? Choose what your flavour, and I have actually went to the point where a man has actually said to me, no, I'm not. And I said, if you don't like it, that's fine, taste the jam, but if you do like it, you get a free jar or whatever. And he's actually said, I actually love them, and he went away with a bag full of stuff.
Well, you've converted me. I've never been a chutney eater before I had yours.
Yeah?
And for me, it was very much about the sugar, because I don't want all that sugar.
No.
But I like the fact that your sugar content is lower.
Yeah.
It's not the first thing on the ingredients
No.
list.
No.
How are we doing?
We're still going. We're still going. Our
We're
bubbles are getting slower and slower and slower. So yep, we're going well.
So yeah, you've absolutely converted me. And there's David and I have had many meals, which has just been some sourdough, surprise, cheese, and your chutney.
Well, the other
And
thing
I
as
think
well,
we've managed whole jars
Yeah.
between us.
that's what somebody said to me. I should stand my chutneys with a spoon.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's but I have to tell you, I told you this already, I'm going to say
Larger
it on air.
jars.
I recently took a trip to Norfolk, and we visited Sandringham. We went I always look in the farm shops, because I just want to see what's going on. I thought, okay, let's try some of their chutney and see, and not a patch on yours. And I bought 3 different chutneys from that farm shop, and I come back to yours every time.
Oh, thank you so much.
They're
That
not
means
better
so much.
than Sandringham's, I have to say.
What's that?
They're not better. Yours are better.
Mine are better.
Yours are much better.
Thank
the king
you.
can keep his chutney. I'm going to stick to
So
Tracey's.
yours is going to the royal household,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
The king has my chutney.
Yes.
Yes, because you met him recently.
Well, I have
We are in, we're in the company of virtual royalty, because Tracey has met the king
I have
and Princess Anne.
and Princess Anne and Queen Camilla. I met the three of them.
Because they came to markets that you were at?
Yeah, they were at their first royal visit as a monarchy, and they came to Armagh, to my local city, and I was one of 6 or 7 artisans, local artisans, who was asked to come along to showcase what our city and our county could produce and the fine foods. And I was very, very chuffed to have been asked to, because I was standing shoulder to shoulder with other companies who are much, much bigger than me and who I admire, you know, so much. And actually I have some other stuff here, Burn Balsamics, to their lovely balsamic vinegars, Armagh cider vinegar. I'm starting with them, and to me I admire them and I admire their products so much, so to be starting beside them was an incredible
and I seem to recall you were just told where to be and where to mix it. You
I
weren't
was-
told
I-
what was going on.
No, I wasn't told. I didn't know what was going on. I was told it's big. There may be TV recorder or TV cameras there. So, were you lippy? And I went, what's going on? So I actually posted on my story that morning. Okay, I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing today, but I've been told to wear my lippy. The lippy's on, and off I go.
And and did the king, congratulate you on your shade of lipstick?
Well, the reporters were asking me what shade it was.
So you gave him some chutney to take away?
They were presented with, in our borough we have our local council has a department called the Food Heartland, and they are an incredible support to local artisans, local food and drink producers, and it was them who had been organising this in sync with our local council, and they had a Food Heartland hamper presented
so you all
to
put
King
something in
Queen,
it?
so my jams and chutneys went into it, and the same with Princess Anne, she was presented with it. They were incredibly interested with the dandelion jelly, which I have to go over the figs, the roasted figs that I'm going to be making for you for the cheese board. And they like the idea, because there's so much into foraging and that, they like the idea of foraging.
Love that.
So maybe he might have taken it back and said, we need to up our game, guys, at Sandringham. We need to get our chutney as good as this lady's.
Maybe so. Smell.
Oh, you're going to have a smell?
So, always when you smell something in the kitchen, waft it towards you rather than put your head over it. So can you smell it's like, it does smell like caramel, but it's slightly cindery. It's starting to get
Can I
nice and
smell it?
dark now. Yeah.
It's not,
So
it's
see
not overtly sweet.
No.
Oh,
So for instance,
Oh, look at the
it
colour.
smells
so
gorgeous.
it's really that really lovely amber colour. We're going to take it a bit darker, but like that's why I say about whenever you're in the kitchen, always waft towards you rather than put your head over. Because say for instance, Tracey, if you're making something like your chutney
Yeah.
and it's got all the lovely cider vinegar in, if you put your head over it, it takes your breath away,
It takes
doesn't
your
it?
breath away. No, and you're getting steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Elaine, look at the colour of this now, right? So this is like the colour of almost like the inside of a crunchy bar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we just want to take
It's like the colour of the teddy bear.
yes, colour of the outside of the copper pot almost. So we just want to
So all Cherie is doing is shaking and moving this around,
Yeah,
and
just
the
swirling
noise
it,
is
yeah.
because it's on a hot plate of an arbor. But you could do this on a hob as well, couldn't you? Or a stove top.
absolutely. So we're going to take it off the heat now, and you know what? I'm just going to say to you, Elaine, just step back a wee bit, please, because I'm going to just cover my hand with.
You're going to put water in there.
I'm putting the water in now to arrest it. So it'll spit like crazy.
Wow, it's puffed up. It's all bubbling
And it
puffed
all,
up.
yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like blistering skin. And it's taken on a darker colour.
And
Like it's the same colour as the whiskey.
absolutely. And now the whiskey's going in.
Oh wow.
And then into that as well is going half a cinnamon stick, a lovely star anise, 2 cloves, and then I'm just going to break down 3 cardamom pods so that the seeds come out of that. Now, what you'll notice when you make a meringue, a caramel, is the fact that even though you put in all that liquid in on top of the caramel, it's still going to be quite, how can I say, there's still going to be hard bits of caramel in there, right? So now you can put your spoon in there, put it back over the heat, and just nice and gently
But that's what I
melt
was
it.
assuming, because you're putting the cold into the hot. Has
Yeah.
it not been hardened?
It does harden, absolutely, and then you just put it back over your heat again, and gently now with a spoon, you can mix it round.
So is this how you then get all of that mixed up together?
Yes. And just let it bubble away, that's grand, it's
And that's
absolutely
just a wooden
fine.
spoon, is it?
Yes, indeed.
Oh yeah, because you can see it.
So can you see that the hard
It's
bits
like
in
toffee
there?
in the bottom.
Exactly, so don't ever think that that's your caramel, you know, in a bad way. It's absolutely grand.
See, I would think that had seized if it was me.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so look, it looks like a hard piece, and then you just leave it in there over the heat, and it just
It
melts
looks like
down.
boiled sweets.
Yes.
Yes, it does look a bowl sweet.
I'm being very careful not to stand too close to the other.
Yeah, exactly. And then once that caramel has completely melted down,
Caramel is a very hard thing to make. Right.
Yeah,
Very
I
hard
can
to make
imagine.
right.
I mean, Cherie's just doing it
Yeah.
with no care in the world, but to me, from everything I've ever seen, I would say it's a hard thing to do.
It is.
yeah, it's just taking it to that stage. It's knowing the stage to take it to before you arrest it with the cold liquid. And as soon as you arrest it,
Yeah.
it's grand. But these are something that we always had at Christmas when we went up to my Auntie Evelyn's up at the farmhouse. She would always have spiced caramelised oranges, and we'd have them with meringues and cream.
Very posh.
Do you think?
Yeah, that was very posh back then.
But we also had Mummy's Christmas pudding and stuff. But Auntie Evelyn was a
but
teacher.
they were Irish essentials.
Staples, yeah.
Staples at Christmas. Christmas
Completely.
cake, Christmas pudding.
Yes.
Yeah, and they started in August and October. Right as far back as August, you would have started steeping your fruits in your
Again,
alcohol.
these are things I've never made. So.
Yeah, when would you have done? I tell you a very funny story about making puddings. Whenever I moved to my house, and my husband came back, and he had bought billy goats and little kid goats for my children. Now they were only tiny goats, but we only had them a couple of months, and somebody dumped a huge billy goat.
Oh, the great big
A
ones.
huge, big, stinking billy goat.
Yes.
Big horns that had never been. They were
Yeah.
like 4 foot horns,
Mm.
and they.
And they really smell billy
Yes,
goats.
it stink.
Yeah.
And I was making my Christmas puddings this day, and I had them on steaming. And my neighbours came up to try and help us get this huge billy goat out of our ground. And I have a few acres around my ground, so we were running in the rally boots. And every so often I had the timer on my watch. And I kept saying, I have to run and check my steam puddings. And I was running in to check my steam puddings, and then I was coming back out with my rally boots on and running around trying to get the goat out of the garden.
So your husband bought your children pig goats. Was this something that
This
you
was
had
not.
agreed?
No.
Oh.
They came no, I had not agreed it. No.
Ah.
It
Okay.
was, no.
I thought-
See, that's multitasking. You see that, Tracey,
Yeah.
how you can multitask?
I
How
was-
many women can say, I was cooking, I was steaming my Christmas pudding and running after a billy goat? There's not many can say it.
Maybe not many that would want to do it.
That is, yeah, I know.
And they've got real steely eyes, haven't they, billy goats?
It was
Scary boys.
It was terrible.
So you're now moving on to peeling your apples over there,
Yes,
Tracey.
I'm going to peel my apples. I'm going to get the onions into the pot with this apple cider vinegar, a couple of cinnamon sticks, and about half a dozen Stownies.
So you're actually going to cook the onions in the vinegar.
Yes,
Right. Okay. You're not just steeping them in
No,
there. You're actually going to cook
I
them
will
in there.
soften them in it.
Okay. Cool. That's such a huge apple. It looks so much easier to peel.
Yeah, it is. What I do usually is I do a very similar thing to Cherie. If the base isn't level,
Yeah.
what I do
Flatten
is
it
I
off.
cut the two ends off because it leaves you with the flat base. And I just, because of the size of my hand, the size of the apple, I kind of tend to keep it on the board. There are little machines that you can get for doing the apples and things like that, but everything that I do is handmade, and I don't use machines for anything.
I think as well it's nicer, isn't it? Did you ever have one of those things? My mum had one of these bowl fittings for a Kenwood for peeling potatoes.
No.
So the inside was almost like a rough
Sandpaper or something?
sandpaper.
Oh.
Yeah, so that it moved the potatoes around
Oh,
the inside of it to peel them. It's almost like the whole peeling garlic cloves trick. You know, you're meant to put a load of garlic cloves in a metal pot
Yes.
and put a lid on and shake it, and they should then
Yes.
separate the skins. Yeah.
That's delicious. Do you want to taste it or not?
Is it not a bit hot?
No, it's grand.
It'll
It's
cool on the
grand.
spoon.
She says that
No,
she burns
it'll
my
cool on the
tongue.
spoon by the time we get it.
Okay.
Now, can you see how that's all how all the sugar's melted down?
Oh, the smell.
Do you want to?
Okay.
I should have let you do that yourself. Sorry, Tracey.
Okay.
Tracy, taste a wee bit.
Is it not going to be hot?
No, not too bad.
Oh.
Now it's sweet.
Oh, it is.
Smell it. Smells like
Of
And
course.
Christmas.
that's already got the whiskey in it.
Yeah, so that's already got the whiskey in it because you want the whiskey to be sort of
Oh.
cooked down a wee bit so that it's not too harsh.
Now, for me, as people know famously, I am a non-drinker, and I don't like the flavour of alcohol as an ingredient,
Mhm.
even in chocolates or anything like that.
Mhm.
I don't. But that, I've got the warmth of the whiskey without the sharp hit of it. So actually, the flavour of that is lovely. I could eat that.
I could eat that.
Yes.
So
Very, very easy.
so
It's gorgeous.
I think what the thing is, the spices as well
Mm.
really work with the whiskey, and I think the whiskey, you're right, it adds a warming and a wee touch of flavour, but not that harshness. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't like alcohol in food really either, but that. So what we're going to do now is leave that to cool down. We're going to add the juice from the oranges, put that in there as well.
So that can go in cold into it now, and it's not going to cause a problem.
That can go in cold now, and then once that has cooled down a wee bit, in fact what I might do is just put it into this bowl.
So
Because
you
the
wouldn't
pan's
pour it
still
over
hot.
the oranges. You wouldn't pour it over them whilst it's hot.
No, I like to let that cool down completely. And then what I'm going to do is just take out the husks of the cardamom pods.
Uh-huh.
So the seeds stay in there and they'll go in with the oranges. I'll take out the cinnamon stick as well and the cloves when this is all cold,
Okay.
because they'll have done their job. And I don't like the caramelised oranges tasting they'll taste too medicinal almost then.
Yeah.
But I do leave the star anise in because that just adds a wee bit of warmth. I really like that.
And
So
it's
no-
pretty.
Yes. So now that that's cool, or when that cools down, I will then I'll use a sieve probably and put that in on top of my oranges.
So I take it this could be a good gift.
Yes,
Oh,
great idea. Yes, and always make sure. Well, I make sure that I sterilise the jars before I put the oranges in.
How do you sterilise your jars?
So put them through a dishwasher.
Yep.
Or in hot soapy water. Make sure you rinse all the soap off, and then I put them into a warming oven or the bottom of the Aga for about maybe half an hour, something like that. And then I just leave them on top of the surface until I'm ready to use them. So the jar is probably cool by that point,
Yep.
because if I put cold oranges straight into a hot
Yes,
jar,
okay,
it would
right.
smash or crack. Yeah, so it's best I just know that it's sterilised and in it goes.
So, any particular oranges that you think work better than others?
No, I think just, do you know, people use whole clementines. I don't often do that because I think big oranges that have been segmented just to get more flavour.
I was going to say, surely get more flavour through because clementines have still got the skins through them.
Yes, they've still got
Yeah.
the membrane. Also, there's an awful lot of, there can sometimes be an awful lot of pips in oranges.
Yeah.
So when you segment them,
You can
that's
take
a really
these,
good way
yeah.
of getting rid of the pips as well. So yeah.
Okay. What are you doing now?
I'm going to fill a bowl of water and put a little salt into it to put my apples into it to stop them browning.
Oh, salt, not lemon juice.
No, I can put salt or lemon juice in.
My granny
And I
always
don't,
used salt.
I
Mummy
don't
did.
have a lemon with me, so
I never even realised you could do it with salt.
you can, yeah. And actually, I had a tip like this on my Instagram, and if you put them in with salt, and then you take them out and you dry them on a little piece of paper or whatever, they can be packed into lunch boxes or anything and stops sliced apples going brown.
Oh wow! And you don't get the salt through it.
You don't get any salt at all.
Oh gosh, top tips just aplenty going on at the moment.
It's just The leaves, I put them in like this.
So okay, so we've got some quite big chunks of apples just going into the water with a bit of salt.
Until I prepare the pears.
Yeah.
Because what I do, believe it or not, even though a pear is a softer fruit, I cook it first in my chutney because it takes longer for that to actually soften down because I use very ripe or very unripe hard fruits.
Okay.
Because you're getting the best flavour out of them because then they cook off in the pot and they don't go to mush. So I find that if I use good firm pears, but believe it or not, it takes a long time for a pear to soften as you're actually cooking it. Have you found that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
whereas apples can go really quickly.
Yeah.
the brownie apple, if I put that in at the same time, the brownie apple and the pears would still be behind the brownie apple would be mush.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gosh, that's what you only learn when you try it. So
And
you're peeling the pears again.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
just take a very fine peel off because I try not to waste much. And I just slice the stalk off the top and I cut through the pears and I use the whole pear. The pips, everything go into the chutney.
Oh,
The-
okay.
Yeah.
Do you do anything in particular with your peelings?
Yes, I have compost bins for my own garden plot, and also there are pigs at my daughter's local horse riding that love some of the fruit peelings.
Oh, okay. Do you ever use them to make apple cider vinegar yourself?
I sometimes do with the apples.
Yeah.
With the peels of the brownie apple, I do that because some of my recipes call for like apple juice.
Yeah.
So I make the apple juice from my apple cores or my apple peels.
Yeah.
And also with my lemons, because I need the lemons for to make jam, to try and get the jam to set, because I don't use any pectin or I don't add anything artificial into the jam, so I use all fruits. So I use a lemon, the juice of a lemon, to get it to set, and with those lemon peels then I finely slice them. I put them into water and I soften them overnight, and then I finally slice them and I use the discarded lemon peel along with the brownie apple to use or make a lemon and apple jam that is almost like a marmalade.
Wow.
Because I'm asked for marmalade, but I won't use marmalade because I have to ship citrus fruits in. So
Right.
I use the discarded lemon peel then to make another jam, so there's no waste.
You can't grow citrus fruits therefore in there.
You probably can, but I don't know an Irish lemon grower. Do you, Cherie?
No,
No.
I don't think even in a polytunnel you'd have much hope.
I'll tell you,
Irish weather.
I'm about 1,500 feet above sea level.
Okay.
So whenever there's snow coming, I'm one of the first to get snow and get snowed in. So I certainly can't grow
Fair
lemons.
enough. Okay. It's probably a stupid question, but I thought
It's
it was.
not.
No, do you know what? Actually, my auntie has got a lemon tree
I
In
love the
her-
lemon tree. And
in her kitchen.
Yeah.
She was away on holiday. Was it in the Amalfi Coast, and I think she really enjoyed a lemon. And she took a pip home, and she thought that she'd grow it, and she actually has. And she's got a proper big
yeah,
lemon tree in her kitchen, and it's gorgeous because it's right in front of a stained glass window that she's got, and it's beautiful.
I
It's
have
really
I
lovely.
have a sister-in-law who's a lemon tree. I have a friend on Instagram, and he has an orange tree in his thing. But I was thinking of getting a lemon tree to have in my kitchen because it is so warm with the
Yeah,
alga.
probably work.
And I was
probably
thinking
would.
it would work.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right. So whilst Tracey's chopping, what are you doing next then, Madam Cherie?
I'm going to make an Irish coffee.
Oh,
Okay,
again,
when
something.
you're using your hot ring, I'm going to put the onions on in a kilner pot on the low ring with the cider
Yes.
vinegar.
Yes, perfect. So I'm just going to heat up this kettle, so I'll be away from that now in a wee minute, Tracey.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of huge sized pot you would use for making
That's my
chutney.
small pot.
That's a small pot.
That's a small pot. I have pots that are about 6 times that size.
I could wash my dog in that.
No,
But you wouldn't fill them, Tracy?
no, I definitely
It would
don't
smush.
fill them. It would smush. And
You're
what
so
I like,
small. How do you pick these things up?
tough injuries and I have different injuries from
We
it.
suffer for our art.
Yeah, but no, I find ways of being able to move them about by actually coming. If you saw me, I stick my hips out and I rest them on my hips.
Like a baby.
Yeah, exactly like a baby. So I have this huge pot and I'm kind of coming like this.
Oh, right up against you.
Right against me, so which is
Okay.
quite dangerous sometimes if it's
Yeah.
extremely hot.
So we've got a pan on the hot plate.
On the simmering plate, on the
Simmering
low,
plate.
yeah, because
So this would be like a low heat if it
Yeah.
was on something, yeah?
Yeah.
And you've just got the onions and the cider vinegar,
and I'm gonna put star anise and cinnamon.
okay? And Cherie's got the kettle boiling.
Yep, so my kettle's going to come off the boil there. I have got a cafetiere here with freshly ground coffee in it, and I'm just going to fill that right up and then leave that for a few minutes to infuse before I plunge it.
Okay. Again, Irish coffee, I've never had.
Oh yeah, well this is definitely going to be too strong for you because
Yeah. I don't drink coffee either, so I
Oh
think,
my
yeah.
days.
I think that might just send me off, that one.
So we'll just leave that aside for a second so I can plunge it. And then I've got my 2 wine glasses and I'm going to put a teaspoon and a wee bit into each glass. And I use Demerara in my Irish coffee because my daddy loved Demerara sugar. He just had a real thing about it. He loved it in banana bread, he loved it on his cereal, everything. So of course you could use a soft white brown sugar, and I always use brown sugar in coffee because I just think it gives you that extra wee bit of
Luxury.
luxury and flavour. You're right, Tracey.
Okay.
Okay, in this wee jug here I've got some double cream,
Right.
and I just whipped it just gently before whilst Tracey was talking about her chutney there, so I might just add a wee bit extra cream into that because it's just got a wee bit too thick.
So at the moment, the thickness is the kind of thickness I'd want a starter to be.
You'd want what to
You
be?
have to have it
Sourdough
nearly like
starter.
A sourdough starter. So it just needs to be
So are you going to
slightly
do that?
thicker.
Are you going to do that trick where you've got
off the
like
back
a
of the
dark,
spoon.
a dark brown, and then you've got that white across the top?
Yes.
Oh wow!
Yes, yes, yes.
David, and I hope you're going to be ready to try this. You're being volunteered for this one.
So your cream, do you have your cream just kind of just slightly thicker than pouring consistency, really?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Just
dripping
like
off
that.
the spoon and then you pour it off
So
the
now
back.
that would be a starter that's too thin.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Now, can you just see it just gently holds its weight before it sinks down?
Okay, so as you pick it up and drizzle, you can just see an imprint into the top of the cream before it disappears.
Exactly.
Okay,
Okay, now I'm just going to plunge.
we're plunging the coffee. Oh, and the onions. I've got the cinnamon sticks and star anise. I've got it to like Christmas and here.
And just very quickly back to the coffee. With the coffee, I like good strong coffee for an Irish coffee. Like literally, so you could, as my mother would say, so you could trot a mouse on it.
You could trot a mouse on it.
Yes, good and
Okay.
strong. And then we've got some gorgeous Sexton Irish whiskey here from up around the Northampton coast. So I'm just going to put a wee shot of whiskey here into my glass.
Oh, I see. You don't mix it. It goes in. So you've got the sugar and then the whiskey, and then you're going
Yes.
to put the coffee.
Do you know why? It's just me. That's just how I do it because when I have a coffee, I always put my milk in first of all and then add my coffee. So I think that's just how
I do
I
it
do
this
it.
way as well. I
Do
put
you?
the sugar and the whiskey and then add the coffee. Make sure that the sugar's dissolved well and then pour the cream over the back of the spoon.
So I take it this is one for Cherie and one for Tracey here.
No, this is not. I don't drink whiskey.
Not
My
even
coffee
like this.
Theatre,
I
theatre.
know. I know.
But I'm curious as well how you drink it, because as you drink it, I assume
Oh.
it therefore starts to, the flavours mix.
Yeah, but Elaine, you get. Do you know what I love? I love like apple crumble and cream, or I love, like a warm cake and cream. I love that lovely contrast in temperatures you know, the cool cream and the warm pudding. Oh, flip a
Tell
lot.
me this, do you, whenever you pour your cream over it, do you put a little grated chocolate or nutmeg or anything like that over it?
Do you know, I don't, but yeah, people do. My
I
lovely
do.
friend Celia, who's St. Lucian, she's got a cocoa stick, and they're the most marvellous things.
I want to know what that is, a cocoa stick.
So do I.
Oh, she makes this gorgeous. It's literally like a big brown stick, and you grate it, and you make like hot chocolate with it, and
Where
you
do
put a
we
wee
get
bit of
that
rum.
from?
I get one.
Oh, okay.
I get one from
So-
Celia.
Get
You've
two.
poured the coffee into
Yes, I'll
the
get two.
glasses over the top of the whiskey and the sugar, and you've stirred it up.
Yes, and now
Now the magic happens.
just with
So you just, even though it's hot, you pour in the cream onto
over
the back of a
over
spoon.
the back of a spoon.
So it's quite thick, and it's just gonna. Ooh, look at that! Wow, that's amazing that it doesn't go further down. So it's just sitting around the top, and you're getting.
Because you're pouring it over the back of the spoon, you're breaking the
weight of it.
the weight of it
Yeah.
falling onto it, so it's allowed to support.
Wow.
So it's just like a Guinness.
That's
Half
what
a
it
Guinness.
looks
No,
like.
I can't Guinness.
You're
Yeah, I
guess that's
Tracy.
what it is.
Tracy, you haven't left it down there.
I drink Guinness.
Wow.
I love Guinness.
Okay, I'm going to just need to do a wee bit more cream, but yeah.
And do you need to get on and drink this whilst it's like this, whilst it's warm? And if you left it, would the cream start to then mix in?
Yes, yeah, it would start to. So what I do is, I just take, oh sorry, I've made a wee bit of mess on the side of the glass. What I do is I just take that now
She drinks it quick.
and
As you taste it, is it warm?
so you go through a cool layer. Look at that face.
I need that.
You go through a cool layer of cream. Oh sorry, Liam.
You should do that again, David. Look. No, but that's not the
yeah,
face.
yeah, you're gonna really hate it. You're very good. The things that you do for your work, you're very good.
You probably can't hear me because I'm off mic.
I know, no.
But this is superb, Cherie. This is wonderful.
Oh, I'm glad you like it, David.
Now, I have to tell all our listeners, again, I'm off mic, so you can't hear. I have to tell all our listeners, here comes the mic. So,
David, are you trying the Irish coffee?
I am, and it's absolutely delicious. But not only that, we're recording this on the 25th of October, 2023, and it feels like Christmas Day already.
And it looks like it with the cream all around your face.
I'm just going to use this again for my pears and put water in it.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Right, I'm going to have one more sip and then I'm going to stop.
I will
Why are you
admit,
going to stop?
I will admit that I did try a bit.
And you like.
Oh, because I don't drink coffee or something, all I can taste is the coffee, and I'm
And the whiskey, too much for you. Yeah,
No.
that's completely.
Yeah, but David's happy. Yeah.
Can I just quickly put my? I'm just going to quickly put.
I've paused recording for a bit if you want to just take a breath and.
No, we're gonna
Okay.
do the next bit on the oranges.
Okay. All right.
Do you have a compost bin that you want me to put stuff in?
Yes, do actually, please, because I put my things in there.
So what we're doing now with the oranges, Cherie?
Right. Hang on. Let me start recording again. So off we go again.
What are we doing with the oranges now, Cherie?
So my caramel sauce is nicely cooled down. So what I'm going to do is just pour the liquid through a sieve and down through the jam funnel and get all those lovely flavours in there. Then what I'm going to do is just keep my star anise back, and I'm going to put my little cardamom pods, or seeds, sorry, the cardamom seeds back in, and then I'm going to give it a bit of a shake around and put it into the fridge. Just
Look at that, Tracey, the perfect amount of liquid.
Isn't that fantastic?
I mean, it's like she's done it before.
That is fantastic. I love that.
Wow.
and then we'll just poke the wee bit of star anise
Can I
down.
smell it?
Oh, you can, surely. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. We've got the oranges, we've got the spices. Oh, Christmas
Can I
in
use
a
this
jar.
for my pot?
You
So
can,
you
sure.
would now put that in the fridge?
Yes, so it's cool enough to go into the fridge, and this will last for a couple of months. Easily,
Wow.
easily. If it lasts that long in your house. So, this one is one that I made yesterday just so that you can
Try some.
have a taste and see what you think.
What's going on with your pot?
What I did was, because I don't have a lid for this particular pot and I don't want the cider vinegar to evaporate, I have put the
You
tea
just
towel
put
over
a
it,
tea towel over
a
the
tea
top.
towel over it
Okay.
to allow the onions to soften, but for the cider vinegar, because I need the cider vinegar there to still preserve the apples and the pears whenever I add them in.
Okay,
So
fine.
I don't want it to evaporate.
So here's one you made earlier.
Yes, this one was made yesterday, so it still will be, you know,
Obviously,
obviously,
its flavour.
yeah, obviously as it goes on, the flavour gets nicer and nicer. So there you go, Lynn, have a try with some orange as well. See,
How far ahead of Christmas then would you make these?
I
How far ahead
would
would you
make
make it a
them.
month ahead, or would you for the flavours to infuse? Or
I would do a month. I would do them, you know, couple of weeks into November. Yeah,
Lovely.
definitely.
Oh, it's lovely. I'm starting to feel a bit woozy. I never drink coffee. I don't drink alcohol. It's a good job
I
I'm
would-
staying 2 minutes up the road, isn't it?
I honestly think you've had probably about the tiniest.
I know, but you know, I have a very, very clean
Psychological.
system.
But look at these ones. So these are what
What's that?
these are my salted prunes.
Oh,
So my granny always had stewed prunes in the house. You know, tins of stewed prunes
For porridge and that.
for porridge with creamed rice.
Yeah.
Tins of creamed rice.
Rice pudding.
Yes, absolutely. All those sorts of things. So I just wanted to make one that wasn't from a tin. So I got lots of pitted prunes. You can have them pitted or not, doesn't matter. And you make a mixture of port and whiskey and spices and orange juice. And you take the rind of, or the zest off the orange, slice it really finely, and just put that into the liquid as well. And maybe even some Earl Grey tea bags. A couple of Earl Grey tea bags, and just really gently cook that through. And then the orange peel, you can, the wee julienne stripes, you can even eat those, and it just puts this lovely flavour through the sauce. So it's very much, you can have it with ice cream, you could have it with yogurt, you could have it in the morning with, you know, like the banana bread, that
Granola.
Maybe
granola,
even with
porridge.
all of the alcohol in it.
Hi, Shirley.
Not
Sure,
just
why
on
could you
Christmas
not?
Day.
No,
Can I
prunes,
try a bit then?
prunes just aren't for Christmas, you know.
You're warding off a cold.
That's FYI,
You're
not
right,
just for
Tracey.
Christmas. So, are you going to give us some of these recipes?
Yeah. No, it's quite rich, because obviously these have gone in when the liquid is the
trying to get a
prunes
little
will
bit.
take as much liquid as you give them, so it soaks up and up and up.
But this, so I've got strands here of peel.
Yeah, so that's the orange. Yeah.
Okay, right, here we go. Oh, see, I'm a big porridge fan. I eat porridge every day of my life.
Oh yes, of
Sometimes
course you do.
twice a day.
I love
And
porridge.
something like that stirred into it. Although
You can taste the alcohol.
with my stomach, it might be a bit dangerous to eat too many prunes. But oh, and actually, I've never been. I made people laugh. I've never been the biggest fan of peel. I think because I didn't do a lot of growing up in this country,
Yes, of course.
I never got into Christmas pudding or Christmas cake or
Yes.
anything like that. And the whole peel thing, I never really liked. But that's nice.
I think because it's cooked in the liquid, so it takes
a.
so it takes away the harshness.
The sharpness of it.
Yes, because it's got that awful lot
Yeah.
aftertaste if they're not cooked through properly.
But it's the. I can't taste the alcohol in that.
Really.
Oh, maybe I'm lying.
So there's
There's a bit.
there's port and whiskey in there, but they're just, it's just really, yeah.
Are you impressed at what I'm putting myself through for the podcast?
I really am. I think that's marvellous, I have to say.
I did cut the line at eating meat, but
Yeah, well, you can't do that, Flute. But these are also great. See, if you make like a tart, if you've got some apples and you want to make like a frangipan tart, or say like you know, like the cake I made you, the apple cake. If you wanted to, you could put some of those prunes through it if you didn't want to use sultanas and that sort of thing. So they're just like a stepping board for your imagination, really. You just keep going.
But they would actually be quite nice on the cheese board too.
Yes!
That'd be lovely, and we maybe put some of them on the cheese board tomorrow along with the chutneys and the cheeses and the fruits. And the figs.
Very good idea.
Yeah,
I know that these are particularly sozzled.
Yes.
How would you make them unsozzled? Could do them with just orange juice or something?
Orange juice and apple juice.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I did with the fruit in your cake.
Yeah.
Just put apple juice in instead of the whiskey. And you could put, if you wanted to, cranberry juice in there as well.
Okay.
Christmassy,
So that's
do you know what I mean?
alternative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay.
That's
Thank you
those.
very much. Can you just tell me a bit more about the whiskey that you used in your Irish coffee? Because it's a fabulous, fabulous bottle.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's hexagonal.
Yes. Do you know, it's I haven't heard of this whiskey before. It's a Sexton whiskey and it's from the North Antrim coast. Now normally the North Antrim coast is only Bushmills. Bushmills is the oldest distillery for whiskey in the north of Ireland, 400 years old. And then I found this one. So this is a single malt.
It's called Sexton Single Malt
Yep.
Irish whiskey.
Distilled in copper pots, so like Bushmills as well. So yeah, it's lovely and mellow. It's just
I
perfect.
take it if whatever whiskey you chooses makes quite a difference to the outcome of your coffee.
It really does.
Yeah.
You need a really, you need a really nice
But
one.
there's a lot more distilleries opening up
Everywhere.
in Northern Ireland. There's a huge amount of artisan distilleries.
Oh really?
I actually make I make jam for a local artisan gin distiller. He's one of the most eco-friendly. His distillery is fantastic. It's Symphonia gin, and I make an apple gin jam for him. I make a bramble gin, and I make a fruit cup based on his gin flavours. I make a jam to complement them.
That sounds very cool. The whole gin thing has gone crazy, hasn't it?
The whole gin thing has gone really crazy, and there's some incredible. It's like the whiskey cream liqueur that I brought you over.
Oh
You
yes,
know,
seen it.
it's fantastic as well, you know, and it's local, it's Cork. Everybody just thinks an Irish cream liqueur or a cream liqueur Baileys, but this is.
So as a fabulous looking bottle.
Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to try this later
So
on.
this
Look
is
at that.
what's it called?
So
Five
Five Farms, County Cork, Ireland,
some kind
single
of-
batch Irish cream liqueur.
So is that gonna, when you pour it, is that gonna look like Bailey's then?
Yes.
So we'll have a wee look and see, and then David, you and I have to put ourselves through.
Well, I might have to too because I like it.
You're using sharp knives at the minute. We'll wait until you stop using the sharp knives, because once she gets started, she might stop.
Over
This is
lots
true.
of ice.
I
No,
like
you
the,
have to save some.
The bottle is fabulous.
Isn't it beautiful?
I think the bottle is lovely then because you can use the bottle again for milk,
Yeah.
and you can use it for so many other things. And this is what attracted me. This is what they say about packaging. People, consumers shop with their eyes,
Oh, absolutely.
and this caught my eye among everything else. And then
Oh,
whenever I read about it, read the back and the story about it, I says no, that's definitely.
And it is the colour of Bailey's. That's what it looks like. Listeners, just to let you
But
know,
I
we're
think-
doing this bit in the evening so that none of us need to drive.
But I'm staying over, so I'm very lucky.
Yeah. Luckily, the rest of us are just up
She's
the
going to go to
road.
bed singing.
Cherie and me will be having a Gaelic sing-off.
Oh, we need to record that.
Should we sing Phil the Footer's Ball? Let's get some ice.
Do you see the apples?
Okay. Oh yeah, they haven't browned at all. Right. So you've got some little glasses that you're putting big chunks of ice in, and the liqueur's going over that.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're actually using a measure. You don't just chuck it in.
You know, I really.
We're trying to be
I
posh.
just don't want to make everyone absolutely off their heads. Or we definitely will be singing. Especially me. I've just had some Irish coffee as well. It's a lot. It's thinner, isn't it, than Bailey's?
Yes,
It
it looks a
is.
bit thinner from my memory.
Yeah.
But Felix was saying that it's definitely stronger.
Yeah, there's a higher whiskey content in it.
Not a bad thing.
I love your little glasses.
Charity shop, Tracey. Love a charity
Oh,
shop
so
find.
nice.
Oh, thank you, Cherie.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Tracey.
Cheers.
Elaine, just have a wee smell.
Slancha.
Slanch.
Slancha.
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 Yeah, I can smell it. I can smell the creaminess.
Oh, that'll make your toes
my-
go in night.
Oh.
Wouldn't it?
Oh.
So again,
That'll make your toes go in night. Wouldn't it?
Oh, that's incredible.
Oh, don't mind if I do.
I don't mind if I do either.
I'm just lining them up here.
Right, so before
That's
we
delicious, Tracey.
That is delicious.
before the two of you completely lose,
Right.
Tracy, what have you got going on? So you've got the onions are in doing
Yeah.
that thing. You've chopped the apples into chunks. You've
Yeah.
already chopped up the pears. So is this something that you're going
Smell
to?
it?
Oh, Tracey, that's beautiful.
How many hours would you leave this to be
Oh,
cooking
this,
for?
well, because of the batches that I do, I would slow cook it down over maybe 4 or 5 hours. But this, because it's only going to be a few jars, it should be ready within a couple of hours. The onions already are quite softened. So I would leave them probably for another 20 minutes or so with the towel over it, let them soften, and then I add the pears in, and then I will add the apples in. Once the pears start softening, then I add the apples in and I add the sugar in.
Right, okay. And do you need to will you put extra liquid in that, or is
No.
that it?
That's it.
That's it, just
That's That's it. The cider vinegar, the apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
So Tracey, can I ask you a question? Why would you not soften your onions in a bit of oil to caramelise them first of all?
Because then I find that they're chewy.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't. Sometimes whenever I started off doing the chutneys 4 years ago, I would soften them in a little bit of olive oil, but I find that was browning them and making them look as if they're a cooked onion.
Right.
And I didn't like the look of that
Right.
in the chutney because I thought that distorted the colour. I'm very fussy about the colour
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of texture of the chutneys, of everything not going to mush, everything being, that if you lift out a spoon of something you can actually distinguish.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a pear, that's an apple, that's an onion, that's not just mush.
So what's your biggest seller in chutneys? I'll ask you about jam.
It all depends because they're seasonal. It's just the Arma apple is a very good one. Anybody who would come to me and say, do you do a caramelised onion chutney? And I say no, I don't, because I use the brownie apple in most of my products. So I will actually say to them, I've learned to know that if somebody likes a caramelised onion or if they like whatever, I can recommend, and the Arma apple that you like is what people really love if they're because they're savoury. Obviously, whenever they like the caramelised onion, they like a savoury chutney. So they enjoy that. So it's a good seller. But my spicy tomato and apple is
Delicious.
it's one that anybody. I think it's a very, very good seller because people are comfortable with it and people go for what they're used to instead of trying to branch out. That's why I like markets as well, is because the products are all open there. People can taste something that they wouldn't normally taste or they mightn't buy on a shelf because they say, oh no, I'll go for the tomato and chilli because I know I like tomato and chilli. Now, mine's a spicy tomato and apple because I use chilies, ginger, cinnamon and what's the fourth one? Ginger, cinnamon, chilies, and there's something else in there, I can't remember at the moment. But there's 4 spices in there, and they all work off each other. Mustard seeds is the other one. Whereas before I had a tomato and chili chutney, and it was just the chilies and the mustard seeds. But then there was no brownie apple in it, and it was not sitting easy with me. But it was one that I used to make for my friends before I started the Lush larder. So I just kind of started off with that one whenever I was doing the Lush larder. But then I developed the recipe to include the Bramley apple.
Right.
And then I added the other 2 spices, the cinnamon and the ginger, along with the mustard seeds and the chilli. And I found that the Bramley apple, adding the Bramley apple in, it just kind of sucked the spices in, and it actually left the chutney a spicier chutney than the tomato and chilli one. So I don't make the tomato and chilli one anymore. I make the one with the apples in it with the 4 spices. And what you're getting then with that is a nice warmth kick of heat. You're not getting that blow your head off chilli, burn your tongue, a hole in your tongue kind of.
See, I don't get the point of that.
No.
I want something on the taste.
Yeah, well the tomato and apple has 4 spices that gives you actually nearly layers of flavour, and you don't get it immediately. People will say to me, oh, I can really taste the apple in that, or I can taste the tomatoes in it, and then I say, just wait for the kick, you get the tickle of heat in behind. And then I love watching people's reactions, because they eat it, and then you can kind of go, oh, yes, I got it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I enjoy, to see what people, especially children. I love children because there's no filter with children.
Yes.
They either, you know, give you the thumbs up, or they look at their family and say, But thankfully I haven't had that. Most children come to my stand and they just sit with the cracker and just keep spooning on.
Oh.
So they do, because they love the jam and that. So it's nice as well. So it depends on the flavours. Depends on the season, because my flavours, as I said, change with the seasons. Whatever's locally grown, whatever's available for me to work with locally. So each season is different bestsellers.
So the apples are going back into the water, which
Yeah.
has still got the salt in it.
It's still got the same water, and what I will do actually now is I can drain this out, and I can put a cloth over that and just leave them. They would still be white tomorrow morning if I just drain this through a colander, put a towel over it, and leave it. If I leave them in water too long, they start going mushy.
Yeah.
So I drain these through a colander, put a tea towel over it, and you'll see in a little while. Look at how white they are still.
Yeah, still. So how much salt did you put in that
Oh,
water?
just a tiny, like
You just seem to sprinkle a
no,
little bit.
a tiny, about half a teaspoon to a spoon.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
So a colander, Cherie, yes. And I can drain these.
Does that kind of cover the things that you wanted to do this evening?
Yes.
Yeah?
Because I'm just thinking now the sourdough for tomorrow.
Yeah. So I'll be adding the pears in, and then adding the apples in and the sugar in, and that's me. And you can finish off the chutney tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I'll be putting
So let's record that you adding the pears and
Yeah,
so on, and
that's okay.
so that completes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, whenever you come back, then I will have it into my copper pan.
If you even, because I don't think you're ready to actually put them in yet, so let's just talk through what it is that you're going to do with this before we sign it off. Okay? So the next steps of what you're going to do then with your chutney is you're going to put in the pears first,
Pears first.
and once they start to soften, then
Once-
it's going to be the apples.
Yeah, it'll be the apples, and then I add the sugar
Okay,
and stir it up, and I leave it. I take it to a boil,
yeah,
and then I put it to a simmer
okay,
and let it reduce down to the liquid is absorbed into the fruits.
Yeah.
And then the good testing point of it is to try and scrape your wooden spoon along the bottom, and whenever you can create a valley in the base of the pan and it doesn't automatically fill up with liquid, then you know that your chutney's
Okay.
ready to jar up.
okay,
And again, then with Cherie, I sterilise all my jars. I do it slightly different because I'm taking a hot product to go into a hot jar. So I always leave wash them in hot soapy water, then rinse them. I put them in the agar, and I leave them in the agar until I am ready to use them, so that they're coming out of the agar. I set them out to the side, and whenever they're hot, now I can't keep them in the top oven because my top oven runs about 230 degrees. What's yours at?
About 220.
Yeah, mine's about 230 degrees. and if I took them out and tried to spoon jam or anything into it, it would just start bubbling all over the place, and it starts cooking even more, very fast cooking in the jar because it's too hot.
Yeah.
So I take them out probably about 5 minutes beforehand, use a funnel to spoon it in, and then I have the lids sitting in a tray on top of my agate to heat up, so that whenever I put the lid on, then it creates a good vacuum seal to stop it.
So you don't wash your lids? You don't wash them to...
I rinse them, yeah.
Rinse them.
Mm-hmm.
So do you always have, in the bottom of my warming oven, I've always got, around this time of year for preserving, I've always got my jars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, have you got them in your warming oven ready
Yeah,
to go?
yeah, I have, yeah. But no, I don't have the 4 oven, but I keep them in my low oven.
Yeah.
Harder, yeah. Because my low oven is about 160.
Yes.
So once I wash them and I get them into the hot oven at 230 and the water has evaporated, then I move them down into my low
So
oven.
if you
at
were
160.
doing it with an oven, you could just be turning the temperature down. So there's ways and ways of doing it with
Oh,
a
you
standard
could.
oven.
The standard oven is perfectly fine, yes.
Yeah.
And if, you know, I do it on my agate, but I also have a gas range, which, because the agate comes down in heat, the more you use it, the more heat it loses, and you don't have a dial obviously for turning heat up or whatever. Then I have a gas range as well, so I find with it's okay with my chutneys, but sometimes by the time I'm getting to a 3rd or 4th batch of jam, I need the gas to get the jam pot to 105 degrees to get it down, and then because if you don't get it to the 105 degrees and have it sitting there for 5 to 10 minutes on a rolling boil, it doesn't set. You're basically going to pour it into a jar, it doesn't set.
Okay. Oh, cool. Good, I'm learning so much. Okay. Well, we're going to let you carry on with the chutney now. And yeah.
I'll have the pears.
And then on to next things. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the preparation and hearing the chat. Join us for the next episode and the next YouTube video to see what we made the day after and how we put everything together for our Christmas goodies. See you next time.